Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope you enjoyed last week's video where I had a couple of glasses of wine and unboxed some lovely plants actually, which are behind me and doing great, although you probably can't see them right now. I apologize in advance. I am not tipsy right now and probably won't be for the foreseeable future in videos. It's just, you know, it was a one-off, I hope, because I'm not an alcoholic, I swear. I thought I would go through with you today my new and current favourite propagation method. So over the years of being a plant enthusiast, I have experimented with many different ways of propagating the plants that I love, as we all do. We all love the kind of magic of I've cut my plant and it's growing roots and out of nowhere I've got another plant. Like, how does that even happen? Because science. So I think my previous favourite was water propagation, where you cut a node of a leaf or you take a petiole cutting for those types of plants that can propagate from a petiole, like peperomia for example, or begonia, etc. And I've stuck them in water and enjoyed just the magic of seeing roots grow before your eyes. However, water rooting can take quite a while, particularly if you're not in a particularly warm environment or your conditions just aren't great for your plant to be propagating, and it really depends on what plant you are propagating as well. So, bringing you onto the propagation box method. So this is something that's been going around kind of the Instagram sphere for quite a while. I'm sure it has been part of plant propagation since eons ago, but I'm not entirely sure where it originates. But it's kind of hit the YouTube world in recent months, and I saw it and I wanted to have a go. And I've been propagating with this method probably for a good at least 2 months now, maybe more. So it's fairly recent for me, but I just want to share it because I've had such good success with this, and I suspect part of that is because I'm doing this in a south-facing room, or a room with a south-facing window. I'm not sure in my old flat with the north-facing windows whether this would have been as successful because it was a lot cooler and there was no sunlight, whereas this box is getting a lot of light and a lot of warmth. And I'm seeing great success with it. Can I say success anymore? Success. Anyway, I digress. So the other thing that I really like about this method is it is just so simple. It's very inexpensive. All you need is a transparent box like this. I got this particular one from IKEA, and the other one that I'm using I got from B&Q. You'll also need some sphagnum moss. You'll need to get the fresh variety of sphagnum moss, as the dried out version it just reverts to being very dry very fast. I mean, this stuff dries out, but that stuff, so I'd get fresh wherever you can. And also, because we're talking about sphagnum moss, can I just say it's very important to make sure that you get a sustainably sourced sphagnum moss. So this particular one says that it's from renewable sources, which is very important because sphagnum moss comes from the peat bogs, and there are many peat bogs across the world. Getting on my soapbox now. There are many peat bogs across the world, but they are a finite resource. So they tend to grow in, or exist in, Canada, Scotland, Ireland, New Zealand, and some of Central America. They're marshy, boggy environments, but what comprises a peat bog is thousands and thousands of years of biodegradation, and we as humans have been consuming that peat with wild abandon and no consideration for the sustainability of that peat. So I think it's important for us as plant enthusiasts and people who love nature to make sure that our enjoyment of those things is sustainable and done in a way that's not harming our planet more than is necessary. It is very important because peat Bogs are an incredible carbon store. They're a massively biodiverse wildlife habitat. They're actually really important in water management, which I think anyone who doesn't live near any peat bogs will not know necessarily, but they are really, really important in water management because peat bogs retain up to 20 times their own weight in water, which is incredible. When you've got a huge, great big bog, that is really, really huge. So yeah, just something to think about. Anyway, I'm off my soapbox now. Where was I? So yes, the reason why we want to use sphagnum moss is because it's light. It allows air to the petioles, the leaf cuttings, to the leaf nodes, etc. So it gives them that space to get oxygen while also keeping that area moist to that rooting structure. And it's a very gentle environment for your cutting of whatever to grow in. We also keep the lid on so that we are maintaining a nice humid environment. So it's important to note at this point that you only want to do this with tropical plants that do enjoy a humid environment. You certainly do not want to do this method for cacti or succulents. I think that's very important to note. So basically all you need to do, get your box, put a layer of sphagnum moss along the bottom, and some people will put a little cup of water just so that that humidity is available within the box. For me, I've actually been diluting some fertilizer into my diffusing sprayer. I think it's called that. Do you call that? Pressure sprayer. Is that right? I think it is. It's even hissing now and I haven't used it in like 3 days. But this basically, you kind of pump it all up to build up the pressure, and it diffuses all of the water into little tiny mist droplets and just nicely sprays your box and doesn't saturate everything, but it just keeps that humidity up without suffocating the roots, I suppose. And within that sprayer, I've been using liquid gold leaf, which is literally the most incredible fertilizer on planet Earth. I will go into this in a later video. I really, really want to do a full review of liquid gold leaf. I just want to make sure it's really thorough and really gives you all the facts that you need and want to know. And I just need time to do that, basically. But yeah, liquid gold leaf for sure is my #1 fertilizer. You can use this as like a water-soluble fertilizer. You can use it as hydroponic fertilizer or as a foliar spray. And that's what I'm using it for this propagation box purpose. So I'm using 0.5 milliliters per liter of water. So my sprayer is 1 liter of water. So I just drop in 2 mils with a pipette. Anywho, once you've kind of set your box up, you're ready to put it into situ and make sure that you keep it, maintain it well. So the reason why we have a clear plastic box rather than one that has a opaque lid, you particularly want a clear lid to enable light to get into your box. I mean, I feel like that should be obvious, but just in case it isn't, you definitely want light to be getting to your cuttings. They're not going to grow in the dark, they're just going to rot away and die. And you kind of really want a bright light. As I said, I'm keeping mine in a south-facing window. It's just on the floor by my south-facing window. It's probably a meter pulled back and the sun shines on it a good couple of hours of the day, and it gets nice and warm and it gets nice and moist, so that's good. You also want to make sure that you're taking the lid off periodically. I would say at least every 2 days, just to make sure it's getting some airflow circulating around the box. It's not just going to rot your plants through. I think that's pretty much it. You just want to make sure it's warm, make sure it gets light, and that's pretty much it. I think it's important to note that some other people do prefer to start their plants off as mini plants or baby plants and put them into a box without the sphagnum moss and just sit them in the box with the light coming in and creating humidity and with a little cup of water in. That works fine as well. I mean, for me, I'm a little nervous to do that because I have had some plants rot in that kind of way, particularly if they are in a soil-based substrate or something mixed with sphagnum moss. If you've got soil, it just feels like it. I don't think it can ever dry out, so I think it just panics. But it really depends on the plant. You really want to make sure that you're only doing this for high humidity loving plants. So I'm going to switch around to another angle so that you've got a front-facing view of the box and you can see what I am currently propagating, which is always fun. Okay guys, I'm going to show you inside the box. Obviously what you can see here is just loads of condensation. It is a completely transparent box. Don't mind my horrible nail varnish. It's a completely transparent box and should always have the ability to let the light through, so even though it's got condensation, that's not going to stop anything, hopefully. Anyway, so we have a good mixture of plants in here. So first one I'm going to pick out to show you. Now when you're picking them out, it's not the end of the world. You just want to be very careful to not disturb any of the root structures. I think this one has really like gone crazy with the root growth. Okay, if you can see this little bit here, this is root, and this one has actually got quite a lot of roots going on for him. Oddly, I only put him in probably about 2 weeks ago and he's just gone wild with the roots. I've also got, this one is my pride and joy, so let me see if I can get this in frame. In this corner down here, oh, I've just knocked him over. In this corner down here, I've got a little Begonia chloronura, which I absolutely am in love with. So I hope you can see that because I can't exactly see the camera screen. But so here, this was just a one-leaf cutting. It fell off when I opened the box that I got from eBay, but it's already grown a little new leaf, so it's grown a whole new plant on here, which I'm super excited about. And that's been in there for what, 4 weeks I think, so barely any time at all. What else have we got? I've got a Begonia tiger paws. You have to bear with me because I'm slowly doing this so that I'm not disturbing too much of the root structure, but I hope you can see that. So all these little fine hairs, it's kind of difficult to see past the sphagnum moss, but all these fine little hairs, they're all roots. And eventually this one will also grow a new plant. I think the important thing to remember is to be very, very careful with the root structure. You don't want to go pulling any sphagnum moss off, so just bear that in mind when you're planting these up, because you don't want to disturb all of these delicate roots which have grown so well. I do have a Philodendron melanochrysum, what is known as a wet stick in here. He's a little bit rotten at the end, so I probably should get rid of that. But what you can see here is some little roots beginning to show. So these went here. I kind of put this in as a last ditch rescue attempt because he's been really, really unhappy lately and just has dropped all of his leaves. So I have put him in here to hopefully find a new lease of life, and it looks like he has figured out how to root in here, so I'm remaining very hopeful for that one. We've got, what else? A very long begonia cutting, which I'm not going to pull this all out, but I hope you can see. It's got several root growing points, so I'm probably going to chop that up so that it's not going to get too disturbed. Then we've got a little Dischidia pangolin kisses. I can't remember, I think this is Dischidia numerariafolia or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but he's got little roots in here. And we've got a Begonia breviremosa. This one I'm really nervous about pulling out, but here we go. The things I do for you guys. So he's got some actually pretty damn awesome roots on here. Look at that. I hope you can see that. So This was a leaf cut, literally just a single leaf cutting that I bought off of eBay. The ones that I've rooted in soil using kind of a normal begonia propagation method, they've just kind of died. They weren't happy, but these ones, I've got 2 of these and they are rooting incredibly well. So that is exactly why I told you guys this is my new favourite way of rooting. And I also really like that sphagnum moss is just really kind of delicate and gentle. It's not gonna, unless you go pulling it off your plants, it's not gonna rip anything out or anything like that. So we're all good. What else? I've got a Hoya in here, which, I mean, this one is properly jammed down. It's probably ready to come out actually at some point because he's got a lot of roots built up in there. And I can see a little baby begonia in here. Another one. So here is a begonia leaf. I think this is the Begonia Bowery Bethlehem Star, but I'm not 100% because he's got some different colours coming out from the mother plant, so I'm not totally sure. But I don't know if you can see there, but we've got just a couple of little leaves, which is so cute. Oh my gosh, this is like my new obsession at the moment, is propagating baby begonias. So yeah, you'll have to forgive me. And right at the edge we've got a few cuttings of Peperomia Hope, and that also appears to be kind of densely packed in with roots. So we're going well, my friends. So that's my number 1 box. I will just lean down and get the other box quickly. Okay, this one's a lot bigger. As you can see, it's kind of like as long as my fingertips to my elbow. This one I got from B&Q. And I literally just made some cuttings on Sunday, so I doubt that these will have rooted, but you never know. You can sometimes see some kind of hints like this. One's pushing out a little bit of root there. And where are we? Oh, this one's showing a little bit of root here. Let's see. This one is Epipremnum pinnatum, and despite that leaf definitely being worse for wear, he's already showing a little bit of root point growing there. Some of these may have been there already. I wasn't paying particular attention when I first put them in. But yeah, we've got some really healthy looking roots beginning on all of these. I'll just check the Scindapsus pictus because I think that's the only one I haven't done. Yeah, see, he's got a lovely little root beginning just at the node. So I think the other thing to say, it's important that you, when you're propagating long trailing plants, it's okay if you've got several nodes along your stick, although be prepared that you will probably at some point have to chop those up. But if you've got only one node, you don't want like endless amounts of stem either side, because that just opens you up to opportunities for rot. So you just want to be really careful about that. But yeah, so that is my second box. He's doing well, and I hope to give you an update on these soon. Final thing, for anyone who is remotely interested about moss and sphagnum moss and all the different kinds of moss in the world, definitely check this book out. It's called Moss by Ulrika Nordstrom. And it's literally everything you could ever want to know about moss, and it gives you some ideas about how to propagate and grow your own moss as well, which is really cool. I was given this by a lovely friend. I am very grateful to him, Gareth. So thank you very much for that. It is a really interesting read, so I highly recommend it. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments if using a propagation box is something you might consider doing, or something you're already doing and enjoying, or if you've had any problems, please do let me know and others know in the comments, in case we can help each other out in case of any issues or any pitfalls to look out for. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give us a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.